Welcome to the Dean's List, engaging conversations at the intersection of entrepreneurship, artistic expression, and holistic health. Experience wellness in full color, where fashion, beauty, and art blend with body, mind, and soul. Embark on a journey that dresses your aspirations in style, paints your life with beauty, and sculpts your well-being in every dimension. This is the Dean's List, where inspiration is always in session. Welcome to the Dean's List, where we delve into the intricate mosaic of health, innovation, and business acumen. I'm your host, Allison Dean, and today on the Dean's List, we're unwinding the secrets of holistic healing with Valerie Leavitt, the mastermind behind Boise Myofascial Massage. With years of expertise in myofascial release, Valerie has dedicated herself to the art of deep tissue healing, offering relief and restoration to those burdened by chronic pain and tension. We don't like that. Join us as we delve into Valerie's journey of becoming a beacon of wellness in Boise and discover how her hands-on approach is transforming lives one massage at a time. Hi, Valerie.
Hi, Allison. How's it going? Great introduction.
It's going. We're getting through it.
I'm like, wow.
What'd you say? Oh, well, you are a beacon of healing, Valerie. That is true.
I appreciate that.
People leave you and they feel good. All right. So I want us to start with your journey. Like, can you share the story behind how you entered into the atmosphere of myofascial therapy? Like, what inspired you to do it? Share the story.
So I was a massage therapist for 8 years. And then I decided, well, I need to do something else. So I went back to school and I went for PT assistant. And when I graduated from there, one of my previous massage clients got a hold of me and she's like, I really want you to come work for me. Really need you. And I'm like, okay. And it was at a chronic pain clinic. Super intense. Super hard for somebody just coming out of school. And so and the name of her business was Myofascial Release. And so I started working with her. And about 8 months in, I went to my first John Barnes training. And oh my gosh, life changing. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know I could do this to help people. This is so cool. And it's like, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is my purpose in life. And then that's how it started. And after I worked for my boss for about 5 years and figured out, I can do working for myself, what I'm doing for her. So then I've had my own practice for 6 years now. And man, it's amazing. So that's how it got started.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, now for those that may not be familiar, because I know that I had to dig a little into what myofascial massage was, can you share, like, what is it? How is it different from traditional massage? Like, let's paint the picture for people that need to understand the value that myofascial release can bring.
Well, it's different because you're really focusing on the core of the issue, which means fascia is everywhere in your body. It's like a big web. And it goes from your head to your toes, and it goes in all different kinds of directions. And it's really, really strong. So if you've had an injury or a trauma or accident, that's going to cause a restriction in your fascia, which then shows up as, I have neck pain, shoulder pain, low back pain, migraine headaches, whatever it is. And so how it works is the fascia has different layers. It's kind of like a sweater. And you have your most superficial layer, which is around your bones and around your muscle. And then the intermediate layer is like around your organs. And then the deepest layer is around your cells. And around your cells is where the trauma likes to hang out. That's where your body remembers everything that's ever happened to you. I mean, from the time you're in the embryo until you come and see me, And then you come and see me and you're like, why am I having all these issues? And I'm like, well, let's talk about, what's going on, what kind of injuries you've had. I go through the whole thing like I did with you. And then we just start out and just try to figure it out. And the body's really good at letting us know what's going on as long as we want to know and we're open to it.
When you went through the training, like what specifically about this type of massage was this is what I'm meant to be doing, because there are so many different techniques and I feel like there's so many options for people. Mm-hmm. So like, I guess this is a two-part. Like what about it was so life-changing for you? And then on top of that, for people that are trying to figure out what can help them, because, you've got your chiropractors, you've got, traditional shiatsu, deep tissue, sports, like there's so many different kinds of massage, cupping, I mean, acupuncture, like there's so many different modalities. And so how do we help people understand when they're meant to come see you or try to come see you, right? Because Valerie be booked up. Or when they need to go see, someone else. And obviously I know certain things can be done, in conjunction with each other. So, there are many things that are complementary, but as like a baseline, are there any clues why someone should come see someone that does what you do?
Well, it's kind of different for me because I generally, when I see somebody, they're usually have been in chronic pain for years and they're not in a really good place. Like very rarely do I have someone come in and say, well, I've had shoulder pain for, about 3 months. Do you think you can help me out? I mean, that's a totally different situation. I usually get people who are like desperate. Like I had a patient on Saturday. She was having a hard time just getting off the toilet. I mean, or she's having a hard time walking around. So that's pretty normal for me. But
okay.
I feel like myofascial release is different because you're actually dealing with the issue. And generally what the issue is, it's trauma. And I don't necessarily mean mental trauma. I mean, if you've had a really gnarly ski accident or you've had a very intense back surgery, you're going to have trauma from that. Or you've had numerous injury after injury after injury because you're an athletic person, right? So myofascial release is going to get down to the core of it because you're going to really look at what's going on. And it's not a one-time, it's not one and done. It's, okay, we got to sit down and kind of figure out what your lifestyle is looking like and what's happened to you and what are you willing to do, and are you willing to be your own advocate? Are you willing to do what I tell you to do? And do you want to do this as a team or not? Because if they don't, then I can't help them. And I feel like with massage, because I did massage for a long time, it's like, I just want to come in and I want you to make me feel good and everything's groovy. And then they leave and then they're like, oh, that lasted 2 days and I'm back to where I was before. And then they come back again. It's like that big revolving circle. Well, I didn't feel like I was really making a difference in their lives and in their health and in their body because I'm just making them feel better for 90 minutes.
Yeah. You wanted more sustained feelings of impact.
I want to make a difference. Yeah.
So the body's fascia system, it's often overlooked in traditional medicine. So curious how you educate your clients on the importance of the fascia and its role in someone's overall health and their overall well-being.
I think I really covered that during their first treatment with me because I'm really thorough about asking them a million questions and kind of finding out what's happening with them. And then once I touch them and they feel like they can feel different things happening in their body and they're like, what's that happening? How come you're on my low back and I feel it in my head? Or how come I can feel it if you're on my leg and I can feel it up in my head? I'm like, because that's where the fascial line is running, and your body will tell me where to go next because it knows. So we're actually addressing the injury or the fascial restriction, right? And so it's just a process. And sometimes with some patients who are really, they don't really believe me. They think I'm woo-woo. They're just kind of like, yeah, I don't know about her, you know. I'm like, okay, well, let's just give it time. And, you know, I see you 3-4 times. Your body's going to trust me. It's going to let go. We're going to be able to find some stuff out. And then they're really happy. So I just feel like they feel like they're a part of their healing and participating and getting better. And it's just not me just going, okay, this is what's happening. Because their body is doing the work. I'm not. I'm facilitating the healing, but I'm not doing the healing.
Okay, so you have, I guess, maybe it's somewhere on the website, you emphasize addressing the cause rather than the symptom.
Correct.
And you've kind of talked a little bit about, you know, your first assessment with someone, and treating sort of like root cause. Do you have any like memorable case studies that you can think of like, you know, from the first time that they've walked in to see you, and then how the work that you've done to identify root cause, how that has transformed their well-being?
Well, I had a case, I mean, it's a pretty recent case, the lady that I saw on Saturday, first time I saw her, and she's waited a couple months to get in to see me. And she was a very athletic person, very active, you know, would ride her bike 40 miles every other day. And she's not able to do any of those things now. And I'm having to help her get undressed, help her get on the table, first time seeing her. And I just, you know, of course, I asked her a million questions. And then I did myofascial release on her. And she could just feel, and she's had a bunch of different, you know, modalities done with her. She's never had myofascial release before. And she was able to get off the table by herself. She was able to walk out of my office by herself. I had to help her get the walker in her car. And she just said that she felt so much better. And then I followed up with her the next day, and she's like, well, I probably should have walked around your parking lot a little bit because I froze up a little bit when I got in the car, and I kind of had a hard time getting out of the car. She goes, but by the evening, she goes, best I have felt. And can I explain that? No.
Wow.
But I mean, that's how it works.
That's how
so
it
then
works. You just have to.
We just build on that, right? So she's feeling, so she's got the belief, she's excited, she's ready to feel better. So then we just keep building on that, and we just keep working on it, and her body will just start letting go, start trusting me, and then we can start figuring out, okay, what's really going on? What's really happening? Is there like an emotional situation that you don't remember? Is there an injury that you forgot about? Because that happens a lot. People forget, you know, and they're like, oh, I forgot to tell you, I was in a terrible motor vehicle accident, or I forgot to tell you I had a terrible concussion. I'm like, okay, that would have been good to know. I just take what I can get at this point.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess as new info emerges, you'll accept it, but it is interesting the things that people try and forget.
Yeah.
I think it helps when people hear stories like that in context to like the why of why they should come see someone like you. I think it does help, you know, just contextualize things a little bit more of, oh yeah, I can relate to this sort of an injury or this sort of a chronic pain or this sort of a thing. And wow, that person had relief from it. I think it makes people feel a little more apt to reach out, you know?
Sure.
Okay, so starting any business obviously can present unique challenges and opportunities, but challenges also. Were there any hurdles that you overcame when you were establishing your own practice? And I guess, did any of those challenges unlock any surprising opportunities?
Well, I can't remember. I started my practice 2 years and COVID happened. And I'm like, oh no, what do I do with this? Because it's scary because we didn't know anything about it. We didn't know what to do. We got shut down for 3 months, and I was really nervous about reopening my practice because I didn't want anybody to get sick because I didn't do the protocol right, or I was going to, it was so, so stressful. So
Yeah.
I really just had to learn to really communicate with my patients. I had to ask for help from people that had expertise and things that I didn't know. I mean, I had to ask for help. And that I think that's the biggest thing for me is I was new to being an entrepreneur and a businesswoman. I had no idea what I was doing. Luckily, I seemed to have a knack for it. But I also had people in my life that mentored me through it. And so I think that was a really big thing. And then my next big juicy thing I did was hire Jenny. I mean, she was, that's a big deal to have somebody work under me and with me. And oh my gosh, it was a huge stretch for me to do that. Cause I'm like, am I going to do something wrong? Is she going to leave? What do I do? How do I do this? And it's like, it all just worked out really, really. I mean, I wish I could have 10 Jennies. She's just so amazing, So I would think that was my next big thing I did. And then over the last, I think it's been 3 months, moved into a big office, and that's scary because it's bigger and there's more responsibility and that's another stretch too. So I just feel like each couple years I get stretched a little bit and then I get to grow and learn and ask for help again. And I think it's a continuing process for me.
I mean, I think that's the journey of the entrepreneur.
Yeah.
It's a continuing process, right?
Yeah.
It is. It's well said. How have you incorporated the use of technology into what you're doing? Like, is it just payment processing? Are there other ways that you're using technology with the work that you're doing?
I really don't use that much technology. I mean, I have my website and I have Facebook and Instagram, but I keep it really, really basic because I'm kind of a dummy when it comes to that sort of thing. And I use Venmo and I use, I have a basic card system at work, but I mean, could I do a whole bunch more? Probably, I could probably make a lot more stuff happen. But for me, it's more important that, I take that extra time to communicate with my patients. Like I always check in with them the next day, make sure they're doing okay. If they're not doing okay, then I'm following up again to make sure, is there anything else I can do for you? Or, do you need to come in again? So that's kind of where I put my effort is into relationship with my patients versus technology. Maybe if I would have been raised in technology, that would be different. But the relationship with my patients is the most important thing for me.
I think too, you've found the balance that meets the needs of what you're doing, right? So it just hasn't become enough of a necessity to engage more than you have, which is okay. Sure. Perhaps at another juncture, you'll reevaluate, but for now it's working the way that it needs to. You're using the tech the ways that it serves your business today. So that's cool. Yeah. I think that's cool. Okay, so in the world of rehabilitation, perhaps there's some debates about the effectiveness of manual therapy versus other methods. Do you have any thoughts on that debate? And what's your perspective on the best ways to address pain management, I guess, in conjunction with the work that you do?
Well, honestly, I think it's, I think it depends on the patient. So I'm a
Mm-hmm.
big advocate if a patient needs a chiropractor, or if a patient needs to see an acupuncturist, or what else? I mean, it's an adjunct to what I do. I feel like it's just more frosting on the cake for the patient. But I
Okay.
think I think in order to be able to know what's going on with the patient, you need to touch them. You kind of need to know what's going on with their body, right? You need to feel
Mm-hmm.
what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that helps you connect more with the patient. Because when I was a
Sure.
PT assistant, I did one of my internships at a outpatient clinic in Caldwell, and it was all exercise, exercise, exercise. And I mean, that's great and that works, but it just doesn't work for me because I don't have that
Mm.
connection with the patient that I like. And I don't feel like with
Got
the
it.
kind of therapist that I am, that I'm making the impact that I can. Now,
Mm-hmm.
my PT that I worked under, he was amazing with exercise, and it seemed he had really great results with that. It just doesn't work for me.
Hmm. Hmm. Can you think of any times where someone used your massage in conjunction with something else and that really unlocked a new level of relief? I don't know, like
Yeah, I
any
feel like sometimes
complementary
if I'm
things
not
that you think work?
getting the results I want, then I'll suggest. I always suggest. I never tell the patient, you might want to go to a chiropractor and kind of make sure that your vertebrae is in line, or make sure that something's not out of alignment. Or like I had another patient, like
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, we're really not moving forward. So maybe we need to see about an MRI. Or
Ooh.
another patient, she wasn't doing any better. I'm like, maybe we need to get some blood work done to see if maybe you've got some inflammation going on. So if I'm just not
Mm-hmm.
moving or getting anything to happen, then I'll suggest different things. And I think acupuncture with myofascial release is a great companion for each
Hmm.
other. And chiropractic, for
Love
sure.
that. Complementary. Chiropractic, yeah, right. Because I think those two things can really unlock some mysteries in the body
Mm-hmm.
if things are out of alignment with the spine
Yeah.
and stuff. Okay. This is a question I ask every person on the show. What does wellness mean to you, Valerie?
Wow, that's a great question. Um, so like for me, or if I have a patient that's coming in and they seem to be struggling, I'm like, well, what is it that you want to do that you can't do? And they'll say, well,
Mm-hmm.
I want to be able to run again, or I want to be able to sleep through the night, or I don't want to have any more headaches, or, whatever it is. And I'm like, okay, well, let's make that our goal then.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try to make that our goal,
Mm-hmm.
and let's see what we can do so that you can do what you want to do that's going to bring you joy. Because if you're doing something that brings you
Mm-hmm.
joy, then that's going to make you feel happy and feel well, right? So like if I have a
Okay.
migraine headache for a week, I'm not going to feel well, and I'm going to be like
No.
miserable. But if I can have somebody help me and I don't have a migraine ever again, I'm going to be like, I'm well again. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
It's so individual
Yeah.
to each person. And I think that's so important when you have the opportunity to help people and make a difference with people,
Mm-hmm.
is to meet them where they are
Mm-hmm.
and find out what they want to do, because then they get invested in it and then they're in it with you. And then sky's the limit when that's
Yeah. No, I agree
happening,
with that.
you know?
Yeah. Which I love. Okay, so for you, does wellness equal joy?
Ah, yeah, I do. Yeah.
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 Okay. Yeah.
And doing
Okay.
what doing the things that makes your body happy and makes you happy, because everybody has their own
Doing the
thing,
things.
you know.
That's
Yeah.
true. Okay, so then for you, since you're bringing so much healing to other
Mhm.
people, what do you do? Like, what do you incorporate into your own life to stay balanced, to stay healthy? Do you have any like daily non-negotiables? So when Valerie starts her day, are there any things that you do to achieve your own wellness before you help others?
Yeah, so it's really important that I get enough sleep. If I don't get enough sleep, you don't want to be around me. That's very important. And eating, I make sure that I eat well. And another big thing for me is to meditate. I meditate every day. I usually meditate before I go to bed. And exercise. I did Pilates for about 9 months. I'm not doing it right now. I'm taking a little break. But if I get 3 days of exercise in a week, I feel so good and my body's so happy and I sleep so much better,
Yeah,
but if I don't,
right.
then I just feel kind of sluggish and I don't sleep well. So that's important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sleep is definitely
Yeah.
important. Sleep, sleep, sleep. We all need that. Yes, I agree. Okay, so now let's reflect a little bit on your career so far. How has working as a myofascial therapist influenced your personal growth, but also your professional growth?
Well, for my personal growth, it's just like I went to Spokane for a fascial pelvis training over Mother's Day, and I'd taken this class before when I was brand new, like in 2018, and I took it again, and it was life changing because everything just clicked. And it's like, okay, so I'm ready to take my practice to that next level. And with myofascial release, I'm a planner. I like to know what I'm going to do. I like to have a schedule. I'm like all those things. And with myofascial release, you can't do that. You just got to go in with an open mind, an open heart, and go, okay, what does this patient need? I need to address and be in the moment, which is a huge stretch for me because I've never done that before. So now it's like,
right.
Now I don't have to always plan and know what's going to happen. I can just be in the moment more because I'm so used to being that way, which I think is beneficial to everybody in my life because I'm not trying to plan everything. It's
So you've seen a shift in that way.
It's just a beautiful experience. I consider myself so blessed and lucky that I get to do this and help people and meet people like you.
Yeah. Aw, I love that. Okay, so we're gonna do, it's a quick fire round. And so I'm gonna ask you some questions and try and just answer the first thing that comes to mind to the best of your ability. It should be fun. Okay. Are you an early bird or a night owl?
Not an early bird at all.
Okay. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Okay. Favorite color?
Pink.
Oh, what was the first paying job that you ever had?
I used to take tassels or top corn when I started in 6th grade in the fields.
Oh,
do you know what that is?
I don't. I'm like, please illuminate all of us, Valerie. What are you doing in the fields?
So there's these big corn fields, and there's like a bull row, and that's the row that or the female row. I can't remember, it's been so long.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's one row of corn that you don't take the tassels off. Oh. And then there's 4 rows that you take the tassels off.
Oh.
So I did that for 3 years during the summer. So, you go in between the rows and you're taking off the tops of the corn.
You see corn in a way that others do not, Valerie.
Because I wanted to buy my own school clothes.
Yeah, well, I relate to that. I totally get that. I love that so much. Okay. What's your favorite cuisine?
Oh, chocolate chip cookie dough?
Oh, so just cookies is your favorite type of food group. Okay, I like that. That's fine. Do you have a favorite country that you've traveled to?
Country? I haven't been to a country. My favorite place I've been to so far is Alaska.
Oh, I love Alaska.
That's beautiful.
Love Alaska. Oh. Like, I hear you on that. Alaska is beautiful. Is there any app on your phone that you cannot live without?
Probably my baking app, because that's what I use for my business.
Baking.
It's not very romantic, but yeah, that's what I do the most on.
What does the baking app do? Oh,
No,
banking.
banking.
Banking. I was like, baking. I was like, oh, banking. Okay, that makes more sense. Your banking app. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That's a great answer. Okay, what's the one word that you would use to describe your business journey?
Exhilarating.
Great word. If you could have any entrepreneur as a mentor for a day, anyone, who would it be?
Oprah.
Oh, the second Oprah I've gotten, I think. Okay. Besides your own, do you have another favorite small business that comes to mind?
Oh, that's a great question. Another small business. Well, I have to be honest and say probably my daughter's pizza restaurant in Colorado. Does that count? She owns her own restaurant.
Yeah, that counts. What's the name of it?
It's Kayla's Protos Pizza, and it's in Broomfield, Colorado.
Perfect. Okay.
It's amazing. She's amazing.
I love that. I do like good pizza. Okay. If you could instantly acquire one new skill, what would it be? Anything.
I guess to be more like you and be able to be better at technology.
I don't know that I'm that good, but I appreciate the compliment. Okay.
Yes.
If you could time travel to any period in history, which era would you visit?
I would love to go back to Egypt during King Tut's time.
Great
I
answer.
think that would be super cool.
I love that answer. Okay, if you weren't doing myofascial massage, what else would you be doing?
You know what I would do? I would be an advocate for elderly people who need help with their medications and who can't afford it and they don't know who to call or what to do to help them.
Oh, I love that so much. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
What's your favorite book? Do you have a favorite book?
Do I have a favorite book? Well, I read so much self-help books.
Any favorites?
You know, it's an old book, but it's Emmett Fox, Sermon on the Mount. That's a really good book. Really like that book. Right now I'm reading There's No Bad Parts by Richard Schwartz. He created internal family systems.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, anything to do with growing as a person, that's generally what I'm reading.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You did the quick fire. Well done. You did it. Okay.
Thank you.
I know. Okay. Beyond financial outcomes, how do you measure success in your business? Let's start there.
I guess I just base it on how well, if my patients are doing well and they seem to be getting better and they seem to be happy. And if I don't have to see them as often, that's what I measure it by.
Right.
And also, I have to say, how Jenny's doing. She's a huge part of my practice and she's a huge part of my success. And so I always keep an eye out there to make sure that she's doing okay. She's happy. Does she need anything? So that's a big part of it too. Relationship, basically.
Love that answer. Great answer. Okay. Looking ahead now, where do you see your business growing in the next 5 years? And are there new techniques or new things that you're interested in exploring or not?
Well, there's quite a few classes that I would like to take from John Barnes. And so I would like to do that. And then I would love to be able to help facilitate one of his training seminars, be a helper. That would be really awesome.
Yeah.
And then in the next 5 years, as far as my practice goes, I would love to hire 2 more therapists that have the same patient philosophy that I do
Yeah.
and would like to learn and grow and expand with me and just see how many people we can help and make a difference in everybody's lives and, you know, kind of recreate more Jennies if I can. You know what I mean?
More Jennies, please.
More
Okay.
Jennies.
What advice would you give to another entrepreneur that's looking to get started with their own business?
Definitely. So when I started out, I had a mentor and I was accountable and responsible to meet with her every week. And she would help me. And her name is Sarah Church. She helped me so much. And so to have some guidance over things that you don't know what to do or you're not good at. And then if you have someone that's going to hold you accountable and responsible, you're going to do it. And then you get confidence, you get self-esteem, and then you're willing to do that next thing. So I think it's getting a mentor, and I think it's just being willing to make mistakes and know that you're going to make mistakes and that it's okay. It's part of learning. It's part of growing. It doesn't mean you're a failure because you can always start over the next day. Yeah, and I think it's just learning how to be in relationship with yourself and learning how to be in relationship with other people. And sometimes that's really humbling, but it's really rewarding, I think.
Totally. When you spoke of your mentor, was this someone that you were paying or just someone that was mentoring you out of the kindness of their heart?
Well, it was out of the kindness of her heart, and she worked with me at Boise Therapeutic as we were massage therapists together, and then she opened up her own business. So she had what I wanted, so I went to her because I wanted what she had. If she didn't have what I wanted, then I wouldn't have went to her because she can't help me.
No,
and so
right.
that's what it was based on. And I really respected her and admired her.
Yeah.
And so she said, Valerie, you do this. I just did it.
Okay. That's cool. One of my mentors once told me that people won't take advice, at least business advice, or they take it differently if they're paying you for it. And I thought that was they hear things differently when there's a transaction occurring. So yeah. That's why I was curious. I was like, and I guess it depends on the nature of the business, the nature of the industry, but that always like landed in my brain on like, oh yeah, I can see that. Is there anything that people need to know about myofascial massage before they go see someone that does it? So any tips, advice for people that would like to try it out? I know you have info on your website, but anything here, hot tips?
Well, I think it's really, really important, and I'm biased, of course, but a lot of practitioners say they do myofascial release and they don't. So I just wanted to be really clear that my personal technique is by John F. Barnes. That's the technique that I use. That's who has mentored me. That's who I follow.
Okay.
So, what I do might be different than what somebody else does. So my first question as a patient is, where were you trained? What technique do you do? What do you do? And the practitioner needs to be very, very transparent about how they're trained, because people they kind of put myofascial release in this bracket, and it really frustrates me because it isn't in a bracket. You know, it's very specialized and it's very important. So, because I've had numerous people come to me and go, this wasn't myofascial release that I'm used to. And I'm like, it's because I don't. So that's a really good question to ask.
Okay.
And I think the patient should be able to ask you whatever they need to ask you to feel comfortable. Because if they're not comfortable, then you're not going to be able to do anything.
How many different types of myofascial, so like what names should people be tuned into besides John Barnes? Like, so are there other names?
I don't know any other technique besides his.
Okay.
Because he created it in 1966. So he's been doing it for a bit.
Oh, so it's like he's the godfather of it. And then
he is. He's the dude that we want to follow, in my opinion.
okay.
Yeah.
And there might be others, but people would need to do their own research to kind of decode if that sounds appropriate for them.
Right.
Okay.
And I've gone to numerous trainings where he has taught the class, and the man is amazing. He's so amazing. He's so humble. He's so kind. He's like this big teddy bear full of love, but he's also a genius. We've got to thank him for showing us this technique, because it's changing people's lives all over the world.
Yeah.
So it's very important.
It's definitely an interesting story. Like, I'd be curious his background and like how he came upon this whole new modality. So that's that's probably another podcast. But
sure.
Valerie, is there anything that you wanted to talk about or anything that you wanted me to ask you that I haven't and you want to talk about it?
I don't think so. It was very, very well thought out questions. Made me think.
Good. Okay, good. I like when people are thinking. Now, can you share how people find you, website, or whatever you want to share on that front? Valerie does have waiting lists, so it is possible if you're Boise based, but how do people find you, Valerie? Or how do they find Jenny?
So my website is Boise Myofascial Massage.com. And I'm also on Facebook, same, BoiseMyofascialRelease.com. And I'm on Instagram too. So they can just reach out through my website, or a lot of people just text me and then I respond back to them. It's real simple. Very basic, nothing fancy.
You keep it real easy breezy. Although I will say, I feel like, I don't know if I submitted through the form. I'm not sure. But I feel like I emailed or did something and Jenny responded. And so that's how my journey with Jenny began. But it was like the same day. Very responsive over there at Boise Myofascial. Very responsive people. Doing good.
It's important. It's important because it's such a gift to be able to treat people, right?
Yes, absolutely. Valerie, I think we did it.
Yeah.
Unless you have any final thoughts, I appreciate you so much for being on the Dean's List.
It's like we were having tea together and just chatting. It was so fun. Thank you.
And thank you all for tuning into this episode of the Dean's List. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite platform to stay updated, and follow us on Instagram at official_Dean's List and YouTube at It's Official Dean's List. I'm your host, Allison Dean. Until next time.